What if the wilderness you seek for peace hides secrets darker than your worst nightmares? What if a seemingly ordinary family trip turned into one of the most chilling mysteries in modern history? One that defies explanation to this day. Tonight, we delve into the haunting disappearance of the Jamison family. A father, mother, and their 6-year-old daughter vanished without a trace in the remote mountains of Oklahoma, leaving behind eerie clues: an abandoned truck, $32,000 in cash, and a malnourished dog. But what's even more unsettling are the whispers of occult practices, paranormal encounters, and cryptic behaviors that paint a chilling picture of their final days. This is not just a story of missing persons. It's a labyrinth of unanswered questions that will make you question everything you thought you knew about safety, trust, and reality itself. Who or what was responsible for their fate? And why does every clue seem to lead deeper into darkness? Stay with us until the end, as we unravel this terrifying mystery and explore the theories that range from sinister human motives to forces beyond comprehension. Before we dive in, I have one quick request. Many of you watching aren't subscribed to this channel yet. If you're drawn to uncovering the world's most disturbing mysteries and exploring stories that linger in your mind long after they're told, hit that subscribe button now. By subscribing, you ensure you won't miss any of the spine-chilling content we share. And trust me, tonight's story is one you won't want to miss. Now prepare yourself. The answers you seek may be more horrifying than the questions themselves. Let's begin. It was October 8th, 2009, a day that began like any other for the Jamison family. Bobby, Sherilyn, and their 6-year-old daughter Madison had packed up their truck and set off into the remote wilderness of southeastern Oklahoma. They were heading to Red Oak, a secluded area in Latimer County, to inspect a 40-acre plot of land they hoped to purchase. The plan was unconventional, even eccentric. They dreamed of living off the grid in a shipping container they had already prepared back home in Eufaula. But what started as a hopeful journey toward a new beginning would soon unravel into one of the most chilling unsolved mysteries in modern American history. The last confirmed sighting of the family came from a man living in the mountains near Red Oak. He described them as quiet and focused, seemingly preoccupied with their plans. Days later, their truck was discovered abandoned deep in the woods, locked and untouched. Inside were their wallets, IDs, cell phones, a GPS device, and $32,000 in cash. A baffling discovery that raised more questions than answers. Even more unsettling was the presence of Maisie, their family dog, found alive but severely malnourished after being left alone for days. The search for the Jamison family began immediately after their truck was discovered. Sheriff Israel Beauchamp, who led the investigation, dedicated himself entirely to the case, spending days and nights in the rugged terrain of the Sandboys Mountains. Over 300 volunteers joined the effort, combing through dense forests and rocky paths. Search dogs were brought in to track their scent. But something strange kept happening. The dogs would pick up a trail only to lose it moments later, as if the family had vanished into thin air. The erratic behavior of the animals added an eerie layer to an already perplexing situation. As investigators dug deeper, they uncovered bizarre clues that painted a troubling picture of the Jamison family's final days. Surveillance footage from their home showed Bobby and Sherilyn making multiple trips between their house and truck, loading items with an almost robotic precision. Their movements were described as trance-like, with no communication or visible emotion between them. Among the items packed was a brown briefcase that has never been recovered, a detail that would later fuel countless theories about what might have happened to them. The deeper investigators dug, the stranger the case became. Inside the abandoned truck, they found an 11-page handwritten letter from Sherilyn addressed to Bobby. The letter was described as a manifesto of hate, filled with accusations and bitterness. She called Bobby a hermit and claimed he didn't care about their daughter, Madison, While some saw it as evidence of marital discord, others questioned whether it hinted at something darker, perhaps even a motive for what happened next. Yet there was no clear sign of violence in the truck or its surroundings, leaving investigators baffled. Then there was the photograph. On one of the family's phones, police found an unsettling image of Madison. She was standing alone in the wilderness, her expression blank and distant. The photo appeared to have been taken near the area where their truck was found, but no one could determine who had taken it or why. Family members insisted it didn't seem like something Bobby or Sherilyn would have done, fueling speculation that someone else might have been involved in their disappearance. As the investigation progressed, whispers of supernatural elements began to surface. Friends and family revealed that Bobby and Sherilyn believed their home in Eufaula was haunted. They had spoken to their pastor about seeing spirits inside the house, with Bobby claiming to have encountered demons on the roof just days before their disappearance. Sherilyn, on the other hand, reportedly dabbled in occult practices, even owning what some described as a witch's Bible. These revelations added a chilling dimension to the case, leading some to speculate that the family's fate was tied to something otherworldly. But not everyone was convinced by the supernatural angle. Others pointed to the $32,000 found in the truck as a potential clue. The region was notorious for drug activity, particularly methamphetamine production, and some theorized that the Jamisons might have been involved in something illegal. Perhaps they had stumbled upon a drug operation in the mountains or were themselves entangled in one. Yet there was no concrete evidence linking them to any criminal activity, leaving this theory as speculative as the rest. Another layer of complexity emerged when investigators learned about Bobby's strained relationship with his father, Bob Dean Jamison. Bobby had filed a protective order against him a year prior, accusing his father of threats and attempted violence. He claimed that Bob had tried to kill him and his family over a financial dispute related to the family business. Adding to the tension, Bobby alleged that his father was involved in drug activity and other criminal enterprises. While this seemed like a promising lead, Bob Dean Jamison passed away just months after the family's disappearance, and authorities found no evidence directly linking him to the case. 4 years passed without answers. Then, in November 2013, hunters stumbled upon skeletal remains in a remote area less than 3 miles from where the Jamisons' truck had been found. The remains belonged to 2 adults and 1 child, positioned face down and side by side. Due to the advanced state of decomposition, it was impossible to determine a cause of death. The discovery only deepened the mystery. How could their bodies have gone unnoticed for so long in an area that had been thoroughly searched? And why were they arranged in such an unsettling manner? The discovery of their remains reignited public interest in the case, sparking a wave of theories that ranged from plausible to outright bizarre. Some believed the family had fallen victim to foul play, possibly at the hands of someone they encountered in the mountains. Others speculated about a murder-suicide scenario, citing Sherilyn's handwritten letter and the couple's apparent mental health struggles as potential indicators. But those closest to the Jamisons rejected this idea, insisting that Bobby and Sherilyn would never harm Madison, no matter how strained their relationship might have been. Adding to the enigma were the strange circumstances surrounding their final days. The surveillance footage from their home, their trance-like behavior, and the brown briefcase that vanished without a trace all pointed to a meticulously planned departure. But for what purpose? Was it an attempt to escape their troubled lives, or were they being coerced by an unknown force? The lack of clear answers left investigators grasping at straws, unable to piece together a coherent narrative from the fragmented evidence. The case took another eerie turn when details about Bobby's internet activity came to light. In the weeks leading up to their disappearance, he had been researching spiritual warfare and even looked into purchasing special ammunition to kill demons. These searches, combined with the family's claims of paranormal experiences, fueled theories that they might have been trying to protect themselves from something they believed was supernatural. Some wondered if their trip to the mountains was part of a ritual, or an attempt to escape what they perceived as a malevolent presence in their lives. Meanwhile, skeptics pointed to more grounded explanations. The $32,000 found in the truck led many to question how the Jamisons had acquired such a large sum of cash. Friends and family denied any involvement in illegal activities. But investigators couldn't rule out the possibility of drug-related connections. The isolated San Bois Mountains were notorious for methamphetamine production and trafficking, and some theorized that the family might have crossed paths with dangerous individuals during their visit to the area. Despite the mounting theories, one aspect of the case remained particularly haunting: the photograph of Madison. It was taken in the wilderness, her expression oddly vacant and her posture stiff. Experts analyzed the image but found no clues about who might have taken it or why. The timing was equally unsettling. It seemed to have been captured shortly before the family vanished. For many, this photograph symbolized the chilling final moments of the Jamisons' lives, a snapshot of innocence overshadowed by an inexplicable darkness. As investigators continued to piece together the puzzle, they couldn't ignore the psychological factors at play. Both Bobby and Sherilyn reportedly struggled with depression and other mental health issues. Sherilyn's friends described her as deeply troubled in the months leading up to their disappearance, while Bobby had become increasingly withdrawn and paranoid. These accounts painted a picture of a family battling internal demons as well as external ones, adding another layer of complexity to an already baffling case. The Jamison family's belief in the supernatural wasn't just a passing curiosity. It seemed to permeate their lives in unsettling ways. Sherilyn had reportedly drawn strange symbols on the walls of their home, claiming they were meant to ward off evil spirits. Bobby, on the other hand, confided in their pastor that he felt targeted by dark forces and was actively seeking ways to defend his family. These revelations led some to theorize that their disappearance might have been linked to a ritual gone wrong or an attempt to escape what they perceived as a spiritual threat. Yet, the physical evidence told a different story. The abandoned truck, the untouched cash, and the malnourished dog painted a picture of a family that left in haste but didn't plan to be gone for long. Investigators struggled to reconcile these details with the idea of foul play or supernatural involvement. If they had been fleeing from danger, why leave behind their money and belongings? And if someone had harmed them, why hadn't more definitive evidence surfaced in the years since their disappearance? One of the most perplexing aspects of the case was the location where the family's remains were eventually found. The area had been searched extensively during the initial investigation, yet no trace of the Jamisons had been discovered at the time. This led to chilling speculation. Had their bodies been moved there later? And if so, by whom? The arrangement of the remains, face down and side by side, only added to the sense of unease. It felt deliberate, almost ritualistic, leaving investigators and onlookers alike to wonder about its significance. Complicating matters further was the lack of forensic evidence. The advanced decomposition of the bodies made it impossible to determine a cause of death, and no signs of trauma were immediately apparent. Toxicology tests were inconclusive, and no weapons or tools were found near the site. This absence of concrete evidence left every theory, from murder to suicide to supernatural involvement, plausible yet unprovable. The Jamison family's final moments remained shrouded in mystery. Their story, a haunting reminder of how some questions may never be answered. As the years passed, the case of the Jamison family continued to attract attention from amateur sleuths, paranormal enthusiasts, and true crime aficionados. Online forums buzzed with theories dissecting every known detail of the case. Some focused on the family's alleged involvement in occult practices, pointing to Sherilyn's witch's Bible and the symbols in their home. Others fixated on the $32,000 found in their truck, speculating about drug deals or blackmail. But no matter how much speculation arose, no new evidence came to light, leaving the mystery frozen in time. For those closest to the Jamisons, the lack of answers was agonizing. Family members described Bobby and Sherilyn as loving parents who adored Madison and were excited about their plans for a fresh start. They rejected theories of a murder-suicide or drug involvement, insisting that the couple had simply been misunderstood. But even they couldn't explain the strange behavior captured on surveillance footage or the chilling circumstances surrounding their disappearance. The unanswered questions weighed heavily on everyone connected to the case. One theory that gained traction over time was the possibility that the Jamison family had encountered someone or something in the mountains that led to their demise. The Sandboy Mountains were known for their isolation and occasional criminal activity, including drug trafficking. Some speculated that the family might have stumbled upon a meth lab or illegal operation, prompting a violent response from those involved. Others suggested they could have been targeted by someone familiar with the area, perhaps even the man who had seen them alive on October 8th. But without evidence, these theories remained speculative. Adding to the intrigue was the brown briefcase seen in the surveillance footage from their home. Despite extensive searches, it was never recovered, leading some to wonder if it contained something valuable or incriminating. Was it tied to the $32,000 found in the truck? Could it have been a motive for foul play? Or was it simply another piece of an unsolvable puzzle? The absence of the briefcase became symbolic of the case itself, an object shrouded in mystery, much like the family's fate. The supernatural theories surrounding the Jamison family's disappearance refused to fade, especially given the eerie details of their lives. Bobby's claims of seeing demons and Sherilyn's alleged use of occult practices fueled speculation that the family might have been involved in something beyond human comprehension. Some theorists pointed to the peculiar arrangement of their remains as evidence of a ritualistic element, while others believed they had been cursed or targeted by malevolent forces. These ideas, though far-fetched to some, resonated with those who saw the case as more than just a tragic mystery. But even with these chilling possibilities, the physical evidence, or lack thereof, kept investigators grounded in reality. The absence of any clear signs of struggle, weapons, or external injuries left them grappling with questions they couldn't answer. How could a family vanish so completely, only to reappear years later in a place that had already been searched? And why did every clue seem to lead to a dead end? The Jamison case became a haunting reminder of how some mysteries defy logic, leaving those who seek answers trapped in an endless cycle of speculation. The photograph of Madison remained one of the most haunting pieces of evidence in the case. Her vacant stare and the eerie stillness of the image seemed to encapsulate the fear and confusion surrounding the family's final moments. Some experts suggested that her expression could indicate shock or trauma, while others believed it was simply an innocent snapshot taken without context. But for those who studied the case obsessively, the photo felt like a message. A silent cry for help, frozen in time, offering no answers, but refusing to be ignored. Over time, even the most dedicated investigators began to accept that the truth about the Jamison family might never be uncovered. Theories continued to circulate, from human trafficking to cult involvement, but none could be definitively proven. The lack of closure left a void not only for their loved ones, but also for the public, who had become captivated by the case's unsettling details. The Jamisons' story became a cautionary tale, a reminder of how easily people can vanish and how some mysteries are destined to remain unsolved. One of the most debated aspects of the case was the behavior captured on the surveillance footage. Bobby and Sherilyn's robotic movements, their apparent lack of communication, and the meticulous packing of their truck left many questioning their mental state. Some speculated that they were under the influence of drugs or medication, while others believed they were acting under duress. The footage became a focal point for theorists who analyzed every frame in hopes of uncovering hidden clues. Yet, like so much else in the case, it raised more questions than answers. As for Madison, her role in the mystery was perhaps the most heartbreaking. Family members described her as a bright and lively child who loved animals and playing outdoors. The discovery of her remains alongside her parents confirmed the worst fears of those who had held out hope for her survival. Her tragic fate added an emotional weight to an already chilling story, reminding everyone that at the heart of this enigma was a young girl whose life was cut far too short. The involvement of the Jamison's pastor, Gary Brandon, added another layer of intrigue to the case. He claimed that Bobby had confided in him about his fears of spiritual attacks and had even asked about special bullets to kill demons. While some dismissed these claims as the ramblings of a man under immense stress, others saw them as evidence of a deeper paranoia or belief system that might have influenced the family's actions. The pastor's testimony painted a picture of a family grappling with unseen forces, whether real or imagined, and left investigators wondering if their fears had driven them to the mountains in search of safety. Despite the growing list of strange details, no single theory could account for everything. If foul play was involved, why were there no signs of struggle or evidence pointing to a perpetrator? If it was a murder-suicide, why were the bodies arranged so deliberately? And if supernatural forces played a role, how could such claims be proven in a court of law? The Jamison case became a labyrinth of contradictions, with every new discovery deepening the mystery rather than solving it. The discovery of the handwritten letter from Sherilyn to Bobby continued to haunt investigators. Its venomous tone and accusations of neglect painted a picture of a marriage under strain, but it also raised troubling questions. Was the letter a venting of frustrations, or did it hint at something more sinister? Some theorists believed it could point to a motive for violence within the family, while others saw it as a red herring, an unrelated piece of evidence that happened to surface during the investigation. Whatever the case, its presence added to the growing sense of unease surrounding their disappearance. Meanwhile, the $32,000 found in the truck remained one of the most baffling elements of the case. Friends and family insisted that the Jamisons were not wealthy and had no known reason to carry such a large sum of cash. Investigators speculated about possible drug deals, blackmail, or even plans to start anew in secrecy. Yet, no concrete evidence tied the money to any illegal activity. Its origin and purpose remained as mysterious as the family's fate, leaving yet another unanswered question in a case already overflowing with them. The arrangement of the Jamison family's remains continued to baffle investigators and theorists alike. Positioned face down and side by side, the placement seemed deliberate, almost ritualistic. Some speculated that it was meant to send a message or signify something symbolic, while others believed it was simply the result of natural circumstances. The lack of any clear explanation only added to the chilling nature of the discovery, leaving those who studied the case with an unsettling sense that something deeply abnormal had occurred in those woods. As time went on, the case began to fade from the headlines, but its impact lingered. For true crime enthusiasts and paranormal investigators, the Jamison family's story became a source of endless fascination, a puzzle with too many missing pieces to ever be solved. For their loved ones, however, it remained a painful reminder of lives cut tragically short. The unanswered questions about what happened in October 2009 left a void that no amount of speculation could fill, ensuring that the mystery would haunt those connected to it for years to come. Theories about the Jamison family's disappearance continued to evolve over the years, with some investigators revisiting the possibility of mental illness playing a significant role. Bobby's paranoia and Sherilyn's depression were well documented, and some believed their shared struggles might have led to a tragic outcome. Perhaps they had become so consumed by their fears, whether of supernatural forces or real-world threats, that they made irrational decisions that ultimately led to their deaths. This theory, while plausible, still failed to account for the strange details surrounding the case, such as the cache, the briefcase, and the arrangement of their remains. Others turned their attention to the isolated nature of the San Bois Mountains. The rugged terrain and sparse population made it an ideal setting for illegal activities, including drug production and trafficking. Some speculated that the Jamisons might have unknowingly crossed paths with dangerous individuals during their trip, leading to a violent confrontation. Yet, without evidence of a struggle or clear signs of foul play, this theory remained as speculative as the rest. The mountains seemed to hold their secrets tightly, refusing to give up any answers. One of the most unsettling aspects of the case was the sheer number of unanswered questions. Why had the Jamisons left their truck, locked and abandoned, with their belongings and even their dog still inside? How had they ended up just a few miles away in an area that had already been searched? And why did every piece of evidence, whether it was the surveillance footage, the cache, or the photograph of Madison, seem to hint at something sinister without ever revealing a clear narrative? These gaps in the story left investigators and theorists alike grasping for explanations that never fully satisfied. For the Jamison family's relatives, the lack of closure was especially painful. They were left to grapple with not only their grief, but also the public's endless speculation about what might have happened. Some family members expressed frustration with the focus on supernatural or criminal theories, insisting that Bobby, Sherilyn, and Madison were simply a family trying to start over. But even they couldn't deny that the circumstances surrounding their disappearance were anything but ordinary. The weight of so many unknowns made it nearly impossible to move on. The case of the Jamison family eventually became a cautionary tale, a chilling reminder of how easily people can disappear without a trace. For those who followed the story, it represented the perfect storm of mystery, an isolated location, strange behavior, and a series of clues that seemed to lead nowhere. It was the kind of case that sparked endless debates and inspired countless theories, but none of them ever felt definitive. The Jamison story was less about finding answers and more about confronting the unsettling reality that some mysteries are destined to remain unsolved. Even today, over a decade later, the Jamison family's disappearance continues to captivate and disturb those who hear about it. The haunting details, the photograph of Madison, the surveillance footage, the abandoned truck, linger in the minds of anyone who tries to piece together what might have happened. For many, the case serves as a reminder of humanity's vulnerability in the face of the unknown. Whether their fate was shaped by human hands or something beyond comprehension, one thing is certain: the Jamison family's story is one that will never be forgotten. The Jamison case also left a lasting impact on the local community in Oklahoma. Residents of Eufaula and Red Oak, once accustomed to the quiet life of rural towns, found themselves at the center of a national mystery. The eerie details surrounding the family's disappearance brought unwanted attention to the area, with reporters, investigators, and even paranormal enthusiasts descending upon the region. For those who lived there, the case became a source of unease, a reminder that even in the most remote and peaceful places, darkness can find its way. As for the investigators who worked tirelessly on the case, many admitted that it was one of the most perplexing mysteries they had ever encountered. Sheriff Beauchamp, who led the initial search efforts, described it as the strangest thing I've ever dealt with. Despite their best efforts, no definitive answers were ever uncovered. The Jamison case became a symbol of the limits of human understanding, a puzzle where every piece seemed to fit nowhere, leaving those who tried to solve it with more questions than they started with. For true crime enthusiasts, the Jamison family's story remains a case study in the unexplained. It's a tale that defies categorization, blending elements of mystery, horror, and tragedy into a single narrative. Theories about their fate continue to circulate with each new generation of investigators and armchair detectives attempting to solve the puzzle. Yet, the lack of definitive evidence ensures that the case remains open-ended, a haunting reminder of how some truths are forever out of reach. In the end, the Jamison family's disappearance is more than just a mystery. It's a reflection of humanity's deepest fears. The fear of the unknown, the fear of losing control, and the fear that some questions will never be answered. Whether their fate was shaped by human hands, supernatural forces, or their own choices, one thing is certain. Their story has left an indelible mark on those who have heard it. The Jamisons may be gone, but their legacy lives on, as a chilling enigma that continues to captivate and disturb. As the years passed, the Jamison family's case became a symbol of unresolved tragedy. Their story was retold in documentaries, podcasts, and online forums, each medium adding its own interpretation to the mystery. Some focused on the supernatural elements, weaving tales of curses and rituals, while others delved into the psychological struggles of Bobby and Sherilyn. Yet no matter how many theories were proposed, none could fully explain the chilling details of their disappearance and deaths. The case remained a blank canvas onto which people projected their fears and imaginations. For those who knew the Jamisons personally, the speculation often felt invasive. Family members expressed frustration with the way their loved ones were portrayed, as victims of paranormal forces or participants in criminal activity. They insisted that Bobby, Sherilyn, and Madison were simply a family trying to build a better life. But even they couldn't deny that something extraordinary had happened in October 2009, something that left behind more questions than answers and turned a quiet family into an enduring mystery. Ultimately, the Jamison family's story serves as a stark reminder of life's fragility and the mysteries that can lurk in its shadows. Their disappearance, filled with strange clues and unanswered questions, continues to haunt anyone who encounters it. Whether it was a tragic accident, foul play, or something beyond human understanding, the case remains one of the most perplexing in modern history. The haunting image of Madison in the wilderness, the abandoned truck, and the eerie arrangement of their remains are fragments of a puzzle that may never be completed. As we reflect on the Jamison family's story, we're left with an unsettling truth. Some mysteries are destined to remain unsolved. The case is a chilling example of how, even with modern technology and extensive investigations, there are limits to what we can uncover. And perhaps that's what makes their story so compelling. It forces us to confront the unknown and accept that not every question has an answer. The Jamisons may never have their justice or closure, but their legacy endures as a haunting enigma that refuses to fade. Even now, the Jamison family's case continues to inspire fear and fascination. It's a story that lingers in the minds of those who hear it, a reminder of how easily the ordinary can turn into something extraordinary and terrifying. The unanswered questions surrounding their disappearance serve as a testament to the complexity of human life and the mysteries that can arise when things go wrong. For investigators, theorists, and loved ones, the Jamison case remains an open wound, a chilling puzzle that defies resolution. Perhaps the most haunting aspect of their story is its silence. The lack of definitive evidence or clear answers leaves room for endless speculation, but it also underscores the tragedy at its core. Bobby, Sherilyn, and Madison were more than just names in a case file. They were a family with hopes, dreams, and struggles. Their disappearance and deaths robbed them of their future, while leaving behind a legacy that continues to captivate and disturb. The Jamison family may be gone, but their story ensures they will never be forgotten. The Jamison family's case is a chilling reminder that not all stories have endings. The unanswered questions, the eerie details, and the haunting imagery of their final days continue to resonate with those who encounter their story. It's a mystery that refuses to be solved, a puzzle missing too many pieces to ever form a complete picture. And perhaps that's what makes it so unforgettable. It leaves us grappling with the unknown, forcing us to confront the unsettling reality that some truths may never come to light. As we close the chapter on this retelling of the Jamison family's tragic fate, one thing remains clear. Their story is more than just a mystery. It's a reflection of our deepest fears and curiosities. It reminds us of how fragile life can be, and how easily the ordinary can spiral into the extraordinary. The Jamisons may be gone, but their legacy endures as a haunting enigma, a story that will continue to captivate and disturb for generations to come. The Jamison family's story leaves us with more questions than answers, a chilling reminder of how the ordinary can spiral into the extraordinary. What do you think truly happened in those remote mountains of Oklahoma? Was it foul play, a tragic accident, or something beyond human understanding? Share your thoughts and theories in the comments below. I'd love to hear your perspective. If you enjoyed exploring this mystery and want to uncover more stories that challenge everything you thought you knew, make sure to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. By doing so, you'll never miss our next deep dive into the world's most unsettling mysteries. Speaking of which, don't miss the next video recommended on your screen. It's another case that will leave you questioning reality itself. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. My name is Jack. Stay curious, stay safe. Did this conclusion meet your expectations? Let me know if you'd like me to adjust anything or expand further.